to This Week in Business. I hope you like our new intro. We're trying a few things here. We kind of like that new jingle we've got there. So we hope you are ready to talk about some fun things today. We're going to talk about, firstly, directors, company directors, Kingsley, is that right?
Yes, basically just a heads up for people what's coming is there's a director ID regime coming. So every director, so even though you might just be a director of your little business, husband and wife business or whatever the case may be, we're all going to have a director ID number that's going to get, we have to fill out and establish and get registered. So it's unfortunately just one more little job that all business people are going to have to do. I don't know if there's any great constants other than that, but I'm sure, being ASIC, that if you don't do it on time, you will get a fine. So that's coming. They haven't set they're still beta testing, or whatever they call it, at this point in time, but that will happen sometime through the course of this year. It's a classic case of, a couple of bad apples. Now we've all got a job to do with trying to track down these people that deliberately set up companies, go and do, typically in the building industry, and clock up a whole heap of work with people and then not pay, having sold the property development, and then just shut the business down, having never paid anyone, so-called, and then they start up and do another one, the so-called Phoenix companies. So that's why they're doing it. It's a little bit of a shame that sort of suddenly everyone's got the admin that comes out of it, but hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a hoo-ha for people.
All right, so is that with the ATO or with ASIC? How does that work?
I think that'll come at, well, the Australian Business Registration Service, which does your ABNs, is where the register will be held, but I would think that ASIC is, that's, who knows, in terms of policing it and so forth, I would imagine that will be ASIC.
Okay, so just something we all need to keep an eye out for and keep our eye on. If something does happen, we will also update you on that. The other thing that I'm hearing around town, especially with some industries really booming at the moment, about subcontracting or contracting out elements of your work, and that very fine line between an employee and subcontractor. So Kingsley, can you just give us the rundown on that?
Yeah, there's a few issues to be mindful of there. From a tax point of view, the ATO will be very keen to call people an employee rather than a contractor if they can, because then, of course, whatever money you make has to be declared in your own name, and also there's probably less deductions you've got available to you as well. And broadly, it's just a case of looking at the features of how you're operating. You've either got the features of a subcontractor or you've got the features of an employee, and that's what it'll come down to. So as we said earlier to you, it's the old duck thing that, if you've got feathers, web feet, you go quack, you're a duck. You can call yourself an ostrich, but you're a duck. And that's what will happen with this, that the tax office will look at how you operate. The classic example is of sort of someone who is basically doing a desk job, and on Friday they resign as an employee. They show up on Monday, they're sitting at the same desk, which the old boss owns, are using your boss's computer and so forth. They only work for that now supposed customer. Yes, you can call yourself a contractor, but the ATO just come over to us and said, no, the features aren't there. In reality, you're still an employee, and that's how we're taxing you. So that's what, and then, some people that have probably got a bit more advanced in it, some of you have heard of this personal services income thing, where you've got tests like you get 80% of your money from one customer if you're getting a little bit more advanced on it. So if you want to be a genuine contractor, you need to have lots and lots of features of a general contracting business. You need to be doing the things that a business has. So lots of equipment, lots of customers, those sorts of things, perhaps your own premises, employees, these sorts of things are what businesses have. And so if you've got lots of those features, you're a business and you'll be able to do it that way. The other danger in these things is where people say they're a contractor, things like the workers' comp and so forth. So people stop covering people for workers' comp. And again, I'm not an insurance law expert, but broadly it's the same thing again. They will say, well, no, Bill Bloggs has the features of an employee, not a contractor, even though he's calling himself that. Should have been covered. Here's a monstrous big fine. So superannuation, your 9.5% super guarantee, same story. You didn't pay super on them. Tax office comes along and says, sorry, that bloke's an employee, whether he calls himself a contractor or not. You should have done 9.5 super. Here's some nice fines and a big back bill for you to pay. So crucially important that you do get this right, and it does simply come down to, in the end, do you have the features of a genuine subcontractor business? It is also really the case now that if you go on to the ABN register to get your ABN to say that you are a contractor, really, if you answer the questions on that questionnaire honestly, it's pretty much impossible to get an ABN come out of the system if you are not a genuine contractor. So you're in dangerous territory. You've pretty much got to lie on that ABN application to get an ABN come out if you really are pretending to be a contractor.
And we do not recommend that you lie on these forms.
Yes, exactly right. So it's, the tax office, would have a walk-up start and giving you a truckload of penalties. Yeah,
and I think it's easily mistaken these days because there are, some different rules around this. There is a test on the ATO website. If you just Google employee, subcontractor, ATO, literally those 3 words, it will come up with a test that you can do. If you are a subcontractor like myself who works from home and you do have your own equipment, as Kingsley said, just be really careful about that 80% so that they don't get a bit confused about things and sharing your work around, because my understanding, and Kingsley, correct me if I'm wrong, even if you have it in your subcontract agreement or your service agreement that says, I am not an employee, I am an independent contractor, the ATO can actually overrule that.
Absolutely. You can't sort of merely by writing something down that contradicts reality suddenly make it so. The tax office say you just simply don't have the features of a business. You're not a business, you're an employee, and we're taxing you that way. And we literally do not care what you've got written down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, so just something to be aware of, guys. Just a short and sharp This Week in Business this week. But if you do have questions about these things, definitely reach out to your accountant or contact Kingsley, book in a session with him. If you are one of our Biz Assist members, you do have a session to go and see Kingsley for free. So please take up that opportunity to go and have a chat with him if you do have any concerns. All right, Kingsley, anything else to add today?
No, that is all from me.
All right, let's go.